And I feel like I need to give him a big intro now after y'all's intros. So he's got Nick Saban's number and you don't. He is the head coach of the Texas Longhorns, Steve Sarkisian. How are you, Coach?
I'm great, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Big 12 Media Days, always a lot of fun for us to cover. You got to finish it off today. The other 9 coaches go first. You got to finish it off. Let's just go ahead and start with we'll go right to the quarterbacks, because your quarterback comment today got some people talking when you said maybe it won't take as long as last year for you to make that choice. Go into that a little bit more and maybe your comfort level with that position right now.
Well, I think, one, we're in a really good situation. You know, we've got a talented room with Hudson Card, Quinn Ewers, Malik Murphy. The difference between this year and last year is, one, we don't feel like we're having to teach a brand new system again, right? I mean, where we came in last year was like everything was so new for everybody and to be fair to everybody. 2, the summer rules changed to where now we can meet with our players and we can be on the field and do skill development throughout June and July. So I'm seeing our guys work and throw and do different things on a more regular basis. Last year I saw Casey and Hudson throw in April, and then I didn't see him throw another football until August. So clearly I couldn't make a decision at that time. So I've got a little better kind of understanding and grasp of where they're at. To be fair to them, I definitely think we need to get into camp and get through at least a scrimmage to see where they're at before we decide to do anything. But ultimately, I feel good about that room and where we're at. It's a talented group. In my opinion, it's the most important position in sports. And you need to be good in that room and not just in the short term, but for long-term goals. And I think we're setting ourselves up to do that.
Steve, first off, I'd like to congratulate you on helping to set a record for most Armenians on the Horn airwaves at one time. We'll save the Armenian genocide question for next time. I did want to ask you about this, though, because one thing I've appreciated about you over the last year is your ability to really self-reflect and to see what you maybe need to do a little bit differently. And you said on stage a little bit earlier that one thing you didn't do a good enough job of in year one was helping to develop the quality and bond of this team. And interesting, you mentioned that technology was a bit of a distraction at times last year, where guys were all in the same room, but nobody was really talking because everybody's staring down at a phone, social media, whatever else is going on. What was this first step for you guys in making sure that you got the atmosphere within the team right this year?
Well, you know, to reflect back, you know, we had a couple real obstacles a year ago, not to make excuses, but to kind of paint a picture. You know, we weren't in the south end zone yet. We weren't in a facility yet. So the players were in the visitors' locker room. Our team meeting room was literally on the 8th floor at the concourse, and I would get up there talking to the team who was sitting in card table chairs 6 feet apart, and I had a bar behind me with a Deep Eddy vodka sign over here and a Tito's vodka sign over here, and I'm like, this is not really conducive to developing that. And then our breakout position meeting rooms were suites on the 8th floor. Fast forward, now we're in a facility, and I felt it kind of as the season was going, like, man, we're closer, but yet we're not connected because we never connected. We had no player lounge. We had nowhere for those guys to go. When practice was done, they left. And now the difference is the guys are around each other all the time. And we've been doing a lot of bonding things, a lot of culture things, really on a weekly basis, to where, in my opinion, if you want to get great at something, you have to devote time to it, and you have to put forth the effort. And so we're dedicating a lot of time to this. I think our players appreciate it. And what you have to do is it has to start with me. And with me, I have to be transparent, I have to be open, I have to be honest, I have to be vulnerable with them in turn so they can be vulnerable with us and be vulnerable with each other. And I think we're reaping the benefits of that. And I don't know if you've had a chance to visit with any of our players that are here now, but I think they'll tell you to a man that it's just a night and day difference from a feel and a connectivity from a team standpoint.
Speaking of, you brought 4 guys with you here this year. Bijan, Roshan, DeMarvion, all made a lot of sense. I was a little bit surprised about you bringing Ovi with you. So why did you decide that Ovi was a guy that was necessary to be a part of Longhorns Media Day?
Well, I think one thing, I wanted to bring veterans on our team. You know, we are a young football team. I think 57 of our 85 scholarship players are freshmen and sophomores.
Wow.
We've got 35 new players on our team on scholarship out of our 85, 7 transfers, 28 freshmen. And these guys that kind of through year one have really bought into our program, I wanted to make sure that we highlighted, in a sense, and Ovi's one of them. I competed against Ovi on this field in the semifinal game in 2020 when he was playing for Notre Dame.
Oh, wow.
Then he graduated from the University of Notre Dame, and then he became a grad transfer to the University of Texas. And like anything in year one, he didn't show up till the summer. There were some growing pains for him, but I think Ovi is poised for a really cool, I guess you call it a senior season, even though he's been graduated from school for nearly 2 years. But he's got a maturity level about him. He's competed at a championship level. And I think that he's gained and earned a lot of respect of his teammates, and so I wanted to highlight those types of players. You guys know Bijan well. You know how I talk about Roschon Johnson all the time. Clearly, DeMarvion is that player, but I think Ovi provides that as well, and is somebody that will continue to stand up and be one of the leaders of this team.
It's an interesting answer. We had Roschon on one of the shows earlier, and that leadership definitely was on display there. By the way, your clock is not off. This is Ball Don't Lie. Rod and Harge have got it cranked up. They're back in the studio. Chad and Trey here at Big 12 Media Days. Rod, Harge, you guys got questions for the coach?
It's a much better room than what it was before. What are some of the things that have stood out right now to where these young players will get this opportunity to grow and learn what it's like to be a college athlete?
Well, I think there's a few things. One, just overall depth for our team at that position group. I mean, when you're looking at 16 to 17 scholarship offensive linemen, that's where you should be at a real number. And there was points of last year where we were hovering at 10, 9 healthy bodies. And you just can't practice the way you want to practice. I think because of that depth, now you've got a healthy competition. And now you've got competition that I think benefits the older players because they know that there's some young, hungry guys that are talented, that are striving and want to get on the field and play. But two, I think that competition helps the younger players. It gives them hope. It gives them, knowing there's opportunity. But yet those older players, because it pushes them to achieve and want more, now it's forcing the younger players to raise their bar and to get their level. And then the third piece, which we talked about with the quarterbacks, the fact that Coach Flood is able to work on skill development with these young guys, I think has been really beneficial throughout the summer, which we weren't able to do last summer as well. So a lot of factors into this to where, we've got some high hopes for these guys. Whether it's immediately in the short term this year or for the long term of what it's going to look like over the next 3 to 5 years, I think this group of 7 guys is going to have an impact on our program. And whether it's individually early on or collectively as a whole down the road, I think this group is going to be one that we'll look back on that, man, that was a heck of a class of the 7 linemen that we signed in the 21 or 22 recruiting class.
Rod Babers, you got one for the coach?
Is there any chance you're going to play more 2-12 access 20 or 21 personnel? I know you transitioned on Falcons offense from the Shanahan offense. He left 21, using 2-12 access there with Kevin Coleman, defensive Freeman. Even your first series here against Louisiana, you go out to 2-12 access. Any chance you could up that usage this year? I know the level and focus is pretty strict about it.
No, I think we did. I think we dabbled in it enough last year to see the value in it, and I think that there was definitely some success when we were in that personnel. Even later in the year, I mean, we had some success with Keelan and Roschon being together when Bijan was out. So it's definitely something that we want to continue to explore and expand upon. I've always said that the more things we can do really well, the harder we are to defend. And if that's another thing that we can do well to go along with our 12 personnel stuff, our 11 personnel stuff, and shoot, that I'm not even out of the realm of thinking, man, our 10 personnel could be really good too this year with 4 wide receivers on the field and just 1 back. So the more things that we can make it hard for us to defend and put a lot of pressure on defenses, we'll try to do.
Coach.
Yeah, I think so. And again, like as we do anything, we always try to put our players in the best position to be successful. And I think the skill set of the players we have now, especially even at the quarterback position, is going to be something that's going to be a little bit more comfortable for them. So we'll continue to try to evolve that. And like I said, all these things we're talking about are great. I have the hard part of deciding we only get to run so many plays in a game. So we got to make sure that we're doing the things that set certain things up for down the road, but also giving ourselves the best chance to be successful in game.
Fellas, Steve Sarkisian's got to run. We do appreciate the time, though. Thank you so much, Coach. That is Steve Sarkisian getting ready for the season with the Texas
Thanks, Steve.
Longhorns.
Appreciate you guys. Hook 'em hard. We'll see you.